and everything shut down. That was the last drop. I said, that's it. Not even one call for anyone. And I'm like, okay, there's something happening here. Why am I not getting calls? But a lot of times I ask and I'm like, no, this is not what I need because you are taking away the context. I made a post and I noticed that there were so many people doing the same situation as mine.
Today, we are having an exceptional guest joining us. She's not just a data analyst, she's also a social media sensation with a dedicated following of 75K individuals. Her insights in the world of data has given her a reputation of being a thought leader. And but that's not all. She's also a mastermind of an upcoming course, which we are also going to talk about a little bit. And so, please join me in extending a warm welcome to one and only Thais Cook. So, welcome to the show, Thais.
Thank you.
Before we delve into the depths of data analysis and stuff, could you let me know, like, what all the listeners as well about yourself?
Yes, sure. So I am a data analyst by trade. I was a dental hygienist, so I was in healthcare for about 11 years, for a long time. And eventually got burned out. Many reasons. Not going to go into details because otherwise I'll be talking to you tomorrow. And then I was when COVID happened and everything shut down. That was the last drop. I said, "That's it. I have to do something else. I can't be doing this forever." That's my opportunity to, since now I have some downtime, to take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize what I want to do. Making long story short, I ended up I was talking to a friend of mine, and in passage, I mentioned that I wasn't working anymore. I said now I want to change my career, just not really sure what I want to do. And she used to work for a dental lab, so she said, "Listen." Few weeks later, she reached out and said, "I need someone who has the business knowledge, who knows the dental industry, to at that time was just to enter the data from the lab because they're receiving about 120 150 cases a day, and they said we just cannot keep track of everything. So since you have the knowledge, do you know how to enter the data and put everything in a spreadsheet nice and neat?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, show me what you want." And she showed me, so I started doing that. And I just started noticing patterns on the data few months in, and I'm like, this is odd. I'm like, I mean, we don't have, as many implants this month compared to last month. Or, name of a doctor would show. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this doctor in a while. And all those questions start, the wheels on my brain start going. And I say, I wonder how I can analyze this data. So I just go on Google, how to analyze data. Literally, I had all this data in my hands. What can I do to analyze this? And I ended up running to Alex the Analyst YouTube channel, and I started listening to his channel. And he also came from healthcare into data analytics, and he was saying how he did that. And one of the things that he really stressed was that you have to know SQL. You have to learn SQL. And I said, what is SQL? I don't even know what this is. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to try learning SQL. If it's something that I really like, that makes sense, I'm going to pursue this. If it's something that makes no sense, I know this is not for me because it sounds like this is a tool that I really need to know. And I always say that from the moment I wrote select everything, that was it. I said that was it. I fell in love with SQL and data analytics. And I said I did not know that I could actually extract those insights by talking to the computer, if that makes sense. So I started doing tutorials, doing courses, and then I went back to my original reason why I wanted to learn SQL, and I started just dabbing into the data that I had, extract all those insights. I went to my boss and I said, "Listen, I was playing around with the data and I found this." And I put everything in a nice spreadsheet, in a nice dashboard. And okay, those are the offices that are ordering the most from us. And And she looked and she said, "How do you know how to do that?" And I told her, I said, "I have been learning." She said, "Please do more of this. I need those answers. I need to know how to guide our business." So I just started doing. So I kind of sort of became a data analyst on the spot for that company because they didn't have a data department or anything like that. But I just started doing that. And eventually felt that I said, okay, I want to grow. And as much as I love that company, they really didn't have their own, they didn't have a data department or anything like that. So I ended up applying to different jobs, got a lot of rejections, lots and lots of rejections. But eventually I landed in the job that I am now, which is in healthcare analytics, and I love it. And that's it. That's how I became a data analyst.
Wow, that's nice. I think you had a very peculiar kind of transition, because most of us, like non-technical, we start from a non-technical background, come and understand what is data analysis, and then start taking up courses, and then start applying for job. But I think you started the hands-on experience initially, and then pivoted towards the data analysis journey. So my next question was that what was so fascinating about data analysis that made you to like um, look into SQL, because your co-workers or anybody in your company did not ask you to do that. So what was, why you felt the need of understanding? But I think you already answered it, of answering the patterns, understanding what was going in within the data. So, in your experience, what was your challenges like initially when you were getting into this whole industry of data?
Believe it or not, I think there are two types of challenges. There was the hard skill knowledge. That's a challenge within itself, I think. But the hard skills, if you really persist, eventually you can kind of. It's almost like putting a puzzle together. Eventually you figure out how to learn how to do the syntax. I remember I used to struggle with group by. I'm like, group by, how do I do this again? And now it just comes natural. And then I just made a post about this recently, actually, about window functions. It took me a while to figure out window functions, and eventually just try and error and just really studying and, okay, how can I make my brain understand this? Eventually, now window functions still have to stop and think a little bit about it, but it kind of comes as second nature. So you do have those struggles in hard skills for sure. That's one struggle. The second struggle is really understanding the business and having the business knowledge. And I think that's huge, because one thing that I think might be so useful for the business might not be what the business really wants to know. The insight is there, but they're like, okay, great, but this is not really moving the needle. What I want to know is this. So I think to have those questions very well defined, that is also another thing. And this is, I think, regardless of the level that you are, you might be entry level. So I want to say, for the people that are entry level, that, oh my god, but this is so hard. Listen, it's going to be like this for a while. So, but that's good. You always want to challenge yourself to, always challenge yourself. And if you get to the point where I'm so comfortable, I know everything, I know this business in and out, I know SQL in and out, I know Python, please challenge yourself to something else. It's time to grow.
So when you started your job, how good was networking? Like, did you get a chance to network, or did networking help you a lot? So, what was it like for you in networking in data job? And
Networking has helped me a lot, more in the meaning of, for instance, when I was in the interview step, let's say that I'm okay, I am ready for interviews, and I was sending my resume out. And I wouldn't get a call, not even one call from anyone. And I'm like, okay, there's something happening here. Why am I not getting calls? And I would go on LinkedIn, because at that point too, I was working from home, which I love. Don't get me wrong, love working from home, but it can get really isolating sometimes. So I would go on LinkedIn and just look for people that were pretty much on the same boat as me. Hey, I'm not getting, calls, and I would go and read the advices of people that were ahead of me in that journey and say, hey, maybe you should tweak your resume this way. Maybe you should put a portfolio together and put a portfolio right at the top of your resume. And that helped me a lot. And I think if I didn't have network, and by networking too, I mean not only accumulate connections, but really talk to people like you would talk to somebody in real life. Don't go to people, somebody that you have never met before, and say, hey, can you get me a job? You don't do this in real life. So I would just go and see somebody who posts something interesting, and I'm like, yes, I agree, I have been going through something similar. And we kind of create the connection. And then when it got to a point where I needed help, I would privately message that person, say, hey, I'm struggling with this, can you help me with this? And but because I already had the connection, there was a genuine connection. I didn't go there just so that person would help me. I went there because I really, we really bonded and really wanted, to follow the person. Then the person would be, sure, Thais, what do you need? And sit and help. So what I say about networking is, don't go there just when you need something, or get somebody who is a stranger, review my resume, please. I mean, come on, that's not going to help. But really go in their posts and try to relate to that person. And and it's a two-way street too. If one of my connections needs me, hey, what is your opinion on this, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, I'll, for sure, it's like I'm talking to a friend. Yeah, sure, let me help you with this. So yes, networking has definitely helped me in those struggles in life. And it was also good that I was able to help people too.
Great, great. So it's great to know that you're also giving back to the community too. And also, I also hear a lot that most of them come directly to us and asking, can you review resume, or can you refer to your company? But referrals, and it takes a long time. Like, you need to know that person to really refer to your current company, because it also talks about yourself there. And so you said about portfolio too. So what are the different techniques, like the people who are transitioning to data, to make them more potential? What are the different techniques that you would suggest or advise?
I think if a person is, I think it helps if a person knows which industry they want to get in. If they don't, that's fine. I was in the same boat. I mean, I was in healthcare, but I wasn't bound in the term to stay in healthcare. So I can do something else. I'm fine. I can go to a different industry. If you know the industry you want to go into, I would say put in portfolio things that are related to the industry. So for instance, if you want to go into hospitality, let's say, I would say find a data set. If you can't find a data set, create a data set. There's tutorials you can look up how to create a data set, and do something that would answer questions for that specific industry. Let's say if you are, I don't know, I'm just making this up, but let's say, okay, one of the things from when I was a dental hygienist, one of the problems that we had was patients waiting in the area for so long. And if I can pull a data set that shows me the arrival time versus the time they're seeing and what is happening, and kind of trying to answer the question with the data and put that in a portfolio, because this way I'm saying, listen, I have the solution for your problem. Your problem in healthcare in this case is how long the patients are waiting in the waiting area. And this is how I solve with data. And that really shows potential employers, oh my God, this person really knows how to solve problems. If you know which industry you want, if you don't, which was my case, you can put different things like how to clean data. It's, I mean, no matter what. what industry you go, which role you get, you have to clean data for sure. So show your different techniques on how to clean the data and things like that. So
Yeah, that's quite helpful. And I think the industry thing, not many of us look towards that direction because we do random projects and then hope people will like it. But what you said is quite helpful too. So
yes, yes, if you know, by all means, yeah, by all means. I mean, if you know, I was advising a friend of mine, she was in real estate and she wants to get into data. And I said, listen, try to leverage your knowledge in real estate to answer questions using the data. And like I kind of talked to her a little bit like that. Like you can really use your previous knowledge in whatever industry you are to transition into data analytics. All that you're doing is you're solving problems in that industry using data.
that's a very helpful insight for I think even for the people who are already in the field, who are looking to also develop a portfolio. And I have a peculiar question on understanding, like now AI is everywhere. Like you can even do analysis using AI or chat GPT. You don't have to sit and write code anymore. So how do you think, so what do you think newbies or people who are starting out the industry, should they start using chat GPT?
I think understanding the syntax is still going to be essential. As much as you the code comes ready, I have used AI for validate code and things like this, but it's amazing. AI, it's here to stay. It's an amazing technology, but I don't go as far as saying, oh, people don't need to know how to code anymore, because guess what, the answers that are being given by AI is based on whatever data is being fed into AI. And as we know, data is dirty. If there is couple of things that are out of place, we know that the result is going to come out not exactly what you want. So it comes down to a point where you need to know what you're validating. You need to, if that the outcome comes to you, you have to have that critical thinking of not, this is exactly what I want, and that's why I telling me it's right, and just show that, put that in a project or keep using that data or show that to the stakeholders. I think AI gives you that. It's almost like there's a, I don't want to say a person, but kind of a person. Hey, why don't you try it this way? And you're like, sure, let me try and see if it works. And yes, sometimes what I ask AI works perfectly. It was exactly what I was looking for. But a lot of times I ask and I'm like, no, this is not what I need, because you are taking away the context to what I need. And as much as you try to explain to the machine the context, is still a machine. It still does not understand the little nuances of the data. So, in one hand side, I say, yes, use AI, but the other hand side, know your fundamentals and don't trust 100%, because if the answer comes in a way that you're like, there's something wrong here, if you know the fundamentals, you'll be able to read the code and kind of try to spot where it's missing. If you don't know the fundamentals, how are you going to do that? There's no way to know, because you skip the fundamentals, you skip the logic. So
Yeah. So, and another thing is like you have a huge following on LinkedIn, and how was your journey in on LinkedIn, and how has it potentially opened up opportunities for you?
it's funny because to this day I have no idea how I got so many followers. I have no idea how. I mean, no, I first started on LinkedIn because, like I said, I was working remote. I was isolated. I wanted to transition. I wanted to learn about data analytics, and I mean, I did have a couple of my neighbors working data. One of my neighbors, good friend of mine, he's a data scientist. He was one of the people that said, "Listen, um, you came from healthcare. Healthcare analytics is a big thing right now. So definitely go. The field is ripe for it." And I'm like, okay, great. And then I start thinking, man, I wish I had. not only one person to go to, but many people to go to. And also because I don't want to go to my friend, and talk to him the whole day long. I mean, the man has a job. I can't be doing that. So I started thinking, and I said, and I had a LinkedIn profile from, gosh, I think it was back in 2012, but I never really used. It was just there. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I was in a company, let's say I'm in a building and I'm working in accounting, let's say, and I want to go into data, what would I do in real life? I would probably try to grab lunch in the cafeteria with the data people and just sit there with them and say, hey guys, can I have lunch with you? And how did you get into this field? And just like try to have a conversation. And that's what I did on LinkedIn. I started there by, let's talk to other data professionals. So I just went there and I start, looking for, more data related posts. So LinkedIn start suggesting me more, profiles of data professionals. And I started following them and creating those connections and so on. So it was very organic. And after a while, initially, I wasn't posting anything. I said, I'm not going to post. Forget about it. I'm not posting anything. I'm just going there, commenting and supporting people, and that's it. But then eventually I felt, you know what? I have something to offer to. Let me make a post and see how it goes. And I made a post and I noticed that there were so many people doing the same situation as mine. Oh, I want to break into data too. And it was, I think people could relate so much with that. And there were other content creators that I follow to this day that we had very similar paths coming from different industries, and just it just became an organic thing. And I remember someone one time pointed, oh, Thais has 50,000 followers. I'm like, do I? Like, oh my God, how did this happen? so so I think it was more me talking about data and somehow trying to give back, because I know firsthand how it is to be in a profession that you don't like anymore and you want to transition to something else. And I said nobody should be stuck in a profession that they don't like anymore. And if I made this transition, anybody can. Seriously, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I just felt that my posts were more to help and inspire people and say, hey, you can do it. Like to have the little push in the back, the person in the back, hey, you can do it. Go for it. Have a little confidence. And I think that is what really created a big following. But that was never my goal to have all the following and all those people. I mean, I'm not complaining though. I'm not complaining, but it was a very organic thing, just to share the passion. So
Right, right. Yeah, that's nice to know. I think you didn't go for the followers, but people came in for your content, so that speaks volume about what you share to the community. I saw a lot of your posts that you're coming up with a course on LinkedIn, and could you share a bit about on that as well, guys?
yeah, it's going to be pretty much how to apply SQL in the healthcare industry. So I'm excited, still in progress, but it should be coming out in September. So stay tuned. There'll be more to come, but I'm still working on the content.
Right. So those are the general questions that I wanted to know from you, guys. So, like I said, we have the rapid fire sessions on this season 2. So I have included this new thing, like to understand, just to get a quick of getting back answers rapidly. So the first question is to, what's your favorite programming language for data analysis? It could be any tool or anything like. What was yours?
In programming language specifically, I it's hard. It's like asking me how, which one of my kids is my favorite. It's hard. It's hard. I like all the tools that I use. Lately, I have been using Python. I don't know Python deeply by any means, but what I have been using Python for validating data, it has been really good. I would say I would go with Python for now, for what I know.
What's your go-to data cleaning tool?
Data cleaning tool. If it's a smaller data set, I really enjoy Power Query. I have been, it's such an underrated tool. People don't talk much about it unless you're talking about Power BI. But I have enjoyed Power Query a lot for smaller data sets. It's an amazing tool. I like that.
So, what's the most underrated skill in a data analysis toolkit that you think?
Believe it or not, Excel. People don't really, I mean, I feel that people go in Excel and once they learn other things, they, oh, I don't care about Excel anymore. But depending, again, depending on the data set, depending on, what you're going to do, what the analysis ask, a good old pivot table might answer your question. And the other thing is, no matter which company you go to, you're going to find Excel. You're going to find a spreadsheet. So, either Excel, Google Sheets, or any of those variances. But no matter where, and that is underrated. People, go on Excel and then jump to other tools. And I don't want to do Excel anymore. I want to do machine learning. I want to do this. I want to do that. But Excel is always going to be there. It's very underrated.
Yeah, yeah. That when you said that, that's true because not maybe it's been for a while. People are not very interested on the Microsoft Excel tool and being hooked up with all the new for softwares that comes in. So yeah, that's true. So what's your favorite book on data, Taiso?
Oh, I finished reading a really good book a few weeks ago, actually called Practical Charts by Nick. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, Nick Desbaratis. Um, Desbarats. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the last name, but the name of the book is Practical Charts. And I really enjoyed that because it had some data visualization techniques. And no matter how long you're in this field, just knowing not only which visualization to use, but how to make that better, how to communicate those insights better, and also the book was really easy to read and digest. I like the way he did the language. It wasn't like this high technical jargons type of book. It was really accessible. So I would say I was really impressed. I like that.
Great, great. I think I also need to check that out, that book now. Have you had chance attending conferences, and if so, any best conferences or data science conferences that you have attended?
I am not proud to say this. I haven't been to a conference yet. I haven't. I want to go, definitely. I think the reason why too is because when I did the transition into data analysis was it was in the middle of COVID also. Everything was shut down. And, and then I moved, from where I was to where I live now and to find those conferences. So it was everything at once. And yeah, so I haven't been yet. But that's something that I definitely want to do, especially if it's in this area. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. So if I see conferences here, that's something that I definitely want to attend. I really wanted to attend there's one in London, Big Data London. I was dying to do that one, but we'll see. If not this year, maybe next year.
Yeah, I heard about it too a lot on LinkedIn. So yeah. So and one data related hobby or interests outside of work.
Uh, I like to exercise and work out or go for walks or things like this. At least 30 to 45 minutes a day. I like to do that, and I I just keep track. I have a smartwatch, and I just keep track of my heartbeat to see if I'm doing is really burning the calories. So it's kind of data related in a way, but I like to do that.
Nice, nice. And I also saw your GitHub post on, I mean, you have a project that talks about your sleep pattern, I think. So that was nice actually.
Yeah, that whole project started as actually kind of an argument between me and my husband because I would wake up so many times during the night and I would have so many disruptions. And if you read my study, I have kids. I would get interrupted by one of them coming to bed, or noise, or anything would disturb me. And I would have, a 2 hour sleep, awake for half an hour, then fall back asleep, and then awake for another 45 minutes. And my sleep was not constant, and I would wake up exhausted. And my husband was like, "Oh, but if you put everything together, you actually had 7 hours sleep. You shouldn't be this tired." I'm like, "No, but it's the interruption. It's not the consistent sleeping." So we started this argument. I'm like, "You know what? I'm going to investigate this data to see what is the difference. If it makes more difference having a solid night's sleep, or if you have interrupted, if it doesn't make any difference." So it started like that. And then just to prove him wrong.
Got it. So now that we work on data field, storytelling is is a part of being in the field. So what is the most challenging aspect of data storytelling?
Oh, I think for sure you should find the balance between something you want to cut noise for sure. Want to eliminate as much noise as possible, but you don't want to also eliminate so much noise that you actually throw away a good information that should be there. So, and I think until you get, and that's where the business knowledge comes in big, to know your stakeholder well and know the business really well, to know, what is the fine line, where is the balance, where I don't want to overload with all this noise. I want to cut everything, but I also want to put just what is important to move the needle in the organization. So I think that's, yeah, I think that's the challenge.
Yeah, right. So one data related skill that you're currently learning and or want to learn next.
I am trying to get better in SQL, believe it or not. So I am looking into user-defined functions, store procedures, parameters, and I really want to optimize my queries to just to give those insights, especially queries that I use over and over again. I think doing those parameters, I'm learning those things. And once again, like I said, I used to struggle with group by, then I struggle with window functions. Now I'm struggling with this, but that's what I'm learning now. I really want to get better at that.
Great, great. So what's the one piece of advice you wish you would give yourself, your younger self, while starting data journey?
Oh, definitely have more confidence in yourself. Definitely. I think if I was going to go even before starting my data journey, don't be stuck in a field unhappy because you decided to go into this career when you were 20, 21 years old. Making career changes are natural and normal. Most of people do it. It's not non-linear. So if you think that in the industry that you are right now is not right for you, please try something else and don't be afraid to fail. Just go ahead and do it. I think I don't have many regrets in life, but one regret that I have is that I didn't change career sooner. I wish I have done this transition years before, but things happen the right time too. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a great advice. So finally on the show, I have had people, like you said, there are not just young people transitioning. There are a lot of senior managers who were in a different non-technical background transitioning. So, what would be your words of encouragement, given that the current job market is like really tough?
I would say that, look, I know the market is tough, okay, and but no, I think the market, no matter what, is always going to have ups and downs. And what I say is that, hey, if I survived 2008, 2009, which is a bloodbath, if everybody survive, you'll be fine. You will survive. So just keep going. Listen, there will be a lot of naysayers. There'll be a lot of people saying the market is so tough, it's not even worth it. But keep swimming again, let's say against the current, let's say against this market, that you just need one yes. You just need one person to say, yes, I want to hire you. It might take a little longer. Hey, don't compare yourself to anybody else either, because everybody's situation is different. Some people have to work full-time jobs and they just have 1 hour a day to upskill and to apply to jobs. Some other people working part-time and have, I have more time in my hands to do this. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. And regardless of how the market is or not, this is something you can't control. You really cannot control the market, the job market. I mean, I have no power over it. Nobody else has any power over it. So just keep going, keep applying, keep upskilling, and you're going to get a yes eventually. It just takes one yes.
That's a great advice. I think that's all people need to hear currently. And I didn't know that you survived the 2008 and 2009 uh, market.
I survived that. Yes, I mean, I was in the beginning of very much in the beginning of my career, but yes, that was the big recession. Was, oh my god. Yes, it was, and I say, hey, if I survive that, I can survive anything at this point.
Yes, that's true. So that's all I have for this podcast session, Thais. So it was really great, and I think I learned a lot about you and your journey as well, and the tips. I'm sure it's going to definitely help a lot of us watching this. It was great talking to you, dude. Yeah.
Awesome, nice talking to you.